where the stories collide. David Mathis brings truth as our guide. From every walk of life and point of view, every voice here has wisdom for you. Lessons for life echo loud and clear. Faith and love in every word we hear. Through the struggles, the triumphs, the fight, we find the light. In lessons for life, Santa speaks of joy in the giving hand. A polio survivor find the will to stand. Bold messengers don't shy from being called to share. Each person has a touching tale of care. Lessons for life echo loud and clear. Faith and love in every word we hear. Through the struggles, the triumphs, the fight, we find the light. In lessons for life. From the lost to the found and the hearts that mend, every journey has a message to send. David's voice a lantern shining so bright, guiding us home with lessons for life.
Hi, guys. How are you this evening? Bob, that was a really good opening. That got everything in. It was great.
Thank you.
Let's bring up our guest tonight. Jeana, is it Jeana or Jenna?
Jeana.
Jeana.
Okay, Jeana Stafford, right?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Jeana. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm okay. I was really stunned when I talked to you that you've been hurt by 3 churches and none of them were your fault.
I know.
So
Crazy.
It's going to be very interesting to see how churches hit you. Let's start back here. We'll get later some scripture and everything else, but you accepted Christ in a Southern church, a missionary Baptist church at 10 years old. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. 10 years old.
What brought you forward? What actually happened in your mind? Were you with your parents or what happened?
It was a vacation Bible school, and it was the graduation service of the vacation Bible school, and the preacher was preaching, and he asked a question, and he said, if something were to happen tonight, do you know without a shadow of a doubt where you would spend eternity?
And you didn't know?
And I had no clue. I didn't know, and when I realized I didn't know, it scared me so bad that I couldn't stand up. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't even make it to the altar at that time.
Now you went forward and you actually became a member of that church, didn't you?
I did. So I was saved, and then
at 10.
at 10, and then became a member of that church when I was 15.
Now your parents weren't going to that church, were they?
They were going to the church. They weren't members, but they were going. They helped with all the services. They did a lot of the vacation Bible school. They would cook, things like that. Yeah, they were active church goers, but they were not members.
So you being a member sort of talked them into becoming a member, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it from there. Your parents, this is where you were hurt first.
Yes.
Tried to join the church and had a problem, right?
Oh, yes. So my parents tried to join the church. My mom was a member at a sister church, and so was my father. My father had been brought up on heresy charges, and then
I
didn't really know.
What is heresy?
That's a great question, because I never really divulged in it that much. I would say it would be speaking against the church that he was a part of. I'm not really for sure.
But anyway, it sounds like a really bad word. But he was a pretty loyal Christian.
Yeah. So now my brother and sister were saved at the same church that I was. So I felt that they were already members there, but they went to go for membership, and they said that they couldn't accept them because they didn't associate with the churches that they belonged to. And I was just stunned. I was like, my parents do everything inside this church, but you won't accept them. Why is that such a deterrent?
So what'd they say?
They said that, they just didn't associate with that sister church because they had done something. They felt like the candlestick was taken out. They felt like the Holy Spirit wasn't a part of that church, and anybody that came from that church hadn't truly been, saved, or if they got brought up on any kind of charges, it was just, they wasn't going to look at them in any capacity.
Now that sort of really upset you, didn't it? Because you wanted your parents to join with you.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you do?
So, when I turned 16, I got my car. We started visiting other churches. We had gone to a revival at a church called Goodwill Missionary Baptist Church, and we had went for 3 or 4 nights, and I felt led to join, and so I did. I walked up and tried to join.
And now you've done nothing wrong. You were accepted in the other church. You were fine.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't take you?
They wouldn't take me. They said that they didn't fellowship with the church that I was a member of, that they would never accept a letter from that church for anybody that was going to try to join Goodwill.
But see, it was the problem was your baptism, wasn't it?
Yes.
Why was your baptism a problem?
They felt it wasn't scriptural because the original church that ushered in Hartsville Missionary Baptist Church, their pastor stood up one Sunday and said, "I don't believe that I'm saved," which created a ripple effect down throughout that lineage. So I'm assuming that a lot of people that were saved under his preaching, other churches didn't recognize that salvation or that baptism.
They didn't recognize it because he wasn't saved?
Right.
So
and
the guy baptized was the problem, not you.
Right.
So now you're in this church called Goodwill. It's another church that's Missionary Baptist, right?
Same like faith and order.
You must live in a community full of Missionary Baptist churches, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this church you were going to belong to, and you were ready, right?
Oh, yeah. I was ready. I felt led there to go.
And at this time, you were married to your second husband or your first?
No. That was when I started going to the next church. Let's stick
with this one because you had another problem. And by the way, I want people to realize that how the church is hurting you. So you didn't join a church for a number of years, did you?
Right.
So you went to this church, and they were, you got the Spirit there, and it was a singing and shouting church, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Was that the church that talked you into singing there?
It was. And
that's why you went originally, wasn't it?
Yeah, I originally went. I was asked to sing a special music for the church on a Sunday morning, and I did. And then I was approached asking if I had ever considered singing Southern gospel music.
But you weren't really a Southern gospel singer, were you?
I wasn't. I had watched all the Gaither videos when they come on, but I had never went and seen a Southern gospel concert or anything like that.
Okay, now you tried to join that church after you went there for a while, right? You didn't
yes, sir.
The first week, and you asked if you could
join. The first week, yeah. Right.
And they said no. Why?
They said no, that my baptism wasn't scriptural, and that they couldn't accept a letter because they did not associate with the church that I was a member at.
That church the problem was the pastor who baptized you said he wasn't saved, right?
Right. So I'm sorry. The pastor that baptized me was saved. It was the one, his predecessor, or
Oh,
his,
this is getting deeper now.
yeah. So it was the original church that extended the arm to the church that I was saved in and that I joined. And then after that, all of that other about the original pastor not being saved went down. And that's where the lineage part was. So they believed that any baptism by anybody that came from that church wasn't scriptural.
So I understand that you sort of gave your testimony up front. Did you do that at that church?
Oh, yeah.
And after your testimony, they figured out that you were baptized by the wrong pastor. And so they told you couldn't join. Is that right?
Right. They told me I couldn't join and unless I would consider a rebaptism.
And you were 21 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been saved at least for a while. You hadn't been going to church until you started going to that church, and you were all fired up, and you felt that Satan was involved in this, right?
Oh yeah. Because that's the first person that gets on your shoulder, because it's easiest because you're in a vulnerable place. And he always said, I could always hear him say, they're going to hurt you. They're going to hurt you. Just be ready for it. So in a way, I was bracing myself for that impact. But when they said, unless you would consider, I wasn't given that option at the other churches that I felt that I needed to go to. It was this one that said, unless you would consider this. And I was like, all right, that's the first option that I've got without somebody giving me a hard pass.
So you got rebaptized.
I did.
And so then you joined that church.
I did.
And at this time, were you on your second marriage?
No, I was still in my first marriage.
Okay, you were
I started
twice.
singing. Mm-hmm.
Your first husband cheated on you, is that right?
Yes.
And your second husband, I can't remember his name. Was his name Jesse or something?
Josh.
I knew it was started with a J. So, but you weren't married. You were just living with him, right?
My husband now, yeah, we were just living together. Yeah.
Now you had some problems joining that church because you've been away from church for 4 or 5 years and you had not been as Christian as you should be. Could you explain that to me?
Well, the best way to explain it is that I put my salvation on a nail and left it there and was decided I was going to do whatever I wanted to. I knew that I was saved, and whatever I did, all I needed to do was repent of it and I would be okay. And then still do the same thing. It was a repeated process, and I just left my salvation hanging there.
So you had some guilt even when you were joining that church, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
You left it on your altar, and Jesus, the grace of Christ, forgave you of anything you'd done. It wasn't something, you weren't into drugs or anything, but you had smoke, and alcohol, and you weren't obeying your parents all the time. Is that right?
That's right.
So sometimes what we don't think is really a bad sin affects us as a bad sin. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But you left.
I was very selfish. I sure did.
Okay, I want to get this whole story. Now, here is where you met a guy who brought you into music. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
He brought me into music. He had asked me if I'd ever sang Southern Gospel, and I told him no. And he was like, well, I sing with a group called Southern Salvation. He said, you should look us up and listen to us and come and see us sing sometime. So I did. And he was like, what do you think? And I told him, it sounds very interesting. I know that I can sing the harmony parts. That's not a problem. And I'm really fast at learning music. And he said, all right. He said, well, I want to do an all male quartet. And I said, but I'm not a male, I'm, I'm not a male. How's this going to work? How are you asking me to sing if you want a male singer? And he said, well, you'll just be the fill-in. Well, the fill-in turned into a full-time spot, and we started traveling, doing about 200 dates a year.
So are you with a group now? What's the group called?
No, sir, I'm a solo now.
So you still go out and sing?
When I get asked to, yeah, I will still go out and sing.
Well, let's sing. I know we're going to run out of time here, but while we got some time, can you sing a verse?
Yeah.
Southern Gospel. Send me just let people know how you sound.
All righty. Let's get this going. So sorry.
That's okay. It looks very dramatic.
I know you're going through the fire. It's getting hard to stand the heat. But even harder is the wondering if God's hand still on me. It's lonely in the flames when you're counting days of pain. But the potter knows the clay, how much pressure it can take, how many times around the wheel, till there's submission to his will. He's planned a beautiful design, but it'll take some fire and time. It's gonna be okay, 'cause the potter knows the clay.
That was very good. Now, if anybody wants you to come to their church and sing, you would come?
Yes, absolutely.
You give your testimony there? You give your testimony?
Absolutely. Because there may be somebody there that has went through the same thing or is currently going through the same thing that I went through, and maybe my testimony can help them be led back to the cross, because that's where we all need to end up anyway.
Across the top, they're scrolling how they get a hold of you.
Yeah.
They get hold of you through TikTok, through Facebook. And,
Yes, sir.
We invite people to have you come. I think you'd be a real addition to any church service, right?
Thank you.
Are you real expensive?
No, I never charged to go to a church. We always went for love offerings, and that could be a glass of sweet tea and lemonade for all I care. That's not what I do it for. Is it nice?
You're in the South. I'm in the North. I'm up near Battle Creek, Michigan, so it'd be quite a run for you to go that far.
And that's what we did. We filled up the van, and we had all of our equipment with us, and we went. And if they gave us gas money, then that's what we used it for. If they said, hey, we'll put you up in a room and give you a meal, that was fine too.
This church actually heard the reputation of the church you came from, and
Yes.
you had trouble joining that church too, didn't you?
I did. That's when they asked me to be rebaptized.
Did you get rebaptized?
I did. They had told me kind of what it entailed, and because I was like, I didn't understand the whole, it's not scriptural, and they just told me it was basically, that somebody that the lineage was correct. That's how they
got
put it.
Married to your second husband, didn't get married. You moved in with him in 2008. Yes. Is that correct?
No, that was when I was married. That was when I was married the first time. I didn't meet Josh until 2016.
So you guys moved in together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that caused a little problem with your church, didn't it?
It did.
Time number 3. Go ahead, tell us about that.
Yeah. So we were brought up on ungodly living charges because we were living together and we weren't married, and we were excluded because I wasn't going to kick him out. I had been divorced. He had been divorced. Did we do things backwards? Absolutely. But I wasn't going to, I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with him. So they didn't like that at all.
So because you're living together and not married, you ran across some problems with the church, right? People in the church.
Yes.
Was it the pastor, or was it just people?
It was the pastor. The pastor would take him to a different part of the church or outside and say things about me, where I was working and that my past, I had a promiscuous past. And then the pastor would say things about me to about Josh. And it was very confusing. And I was like, I don't understand why you would even do that. If you're going to talk to either of us, talk to us together and let us do that session with you together, not separately.
The guy that's the pastor of the church you're talking about traveled with you in music, didn't he?
He did. Yes, he did.
And the pastor was the one that was giving you trouble. Is that correct? He was taking you and your husband out and accusing you of being kind of a wanton woman. And he was telling your husband he should get married. Is that right?
Yeah.
How'd that make you feel?
Oh gosh, hurt is an understatement. Because, I was singing with him for so long. I felt he was like my brother. I told him anything, not only was he my pastor, but he was like a family member. So for him to do that, I was like really taken aback. And hindsight is always 2020. God does in mysterious ways, and that may have been God's way of saying, let's go about this differently.
Because your story is going to take a big turn here, because you're going to start your own church now. Is that right?
Right. And that's what they did. This was after they extended the arm for the mission. So this was all when we were at Creekside. So this was the new church.
You actually started a new church. Right? You went from this church that you went to a church that you founded. And who was the pastor there?
The same gentleman.
Okay, so now you're in a new church. That sounds really good. You're the pastor. Is this called Creekside now? Is it Creekside?
Yeah, so he's the pastor at Creekside. That's the one we were excluded from.
Okay, now the new church is called what?
So we're currently not going to a church. We haven't found a church up here in East Tennessee. We were going to Community Church in Hendersonville back in Tennessee, but we have not found a church up here yet.
You're looking?
So I'm still a member. Yes, we are looking. I'm trying to get my stepkids. Well, they're more than my stepkids. They're my kids. I'm trying to get them into church because they didn't grow up in church. And they've been asking a lot of questions. And I've been doing the best that I can to give them my story and to help them with what I've learned about the Bible. But I'm glad they're asking questions. So we're actively seeking somewhere to go.
Okay, but you're looking.
Yes.
Do you have any advice for people that have problems with the church they're in? Maybe not exactly like yours, but they had problems. Do you have any advice?
Yes. Don't give up hope. Don't let the church, the people in the church or the church hurt you or keep you away from God, because God won't hurt you. He will always be there in your corner. And don't let those things steer you away from the cross, because it will ultimately save your life.
Now, you've never, through this whole looking for church, you've never lost your faith, right?
No. Mm-mm. There's been times that I have questioned my faith, but never lost it.
Your story is a fantastic story. It's a lot of people are having trouble with the church today. So you're going to be talking to some people today that had some of the same problem you did. So you're on
Yep.
TikTok. You talk about these things, don't you? You're on
I
every day.
sing, I host, I'm on every day.
Time.
It's normally pop-ups. I try to do the afternoons though. It's normally around dinner time, which is Eastern Standard Time for me. So it's like from 6 o'clock to about 8 o'clock. And I invite everybody to come in, and my room is a safe room that you can feel free to express yourself in artistry, in ministry, and that we can gather together and talk and heal.
On a path where the stories collide, David Mathis brings truth as our guide. From every walk of life and point of view, every voice here has wisdom for you. Lessons for life echo loud and clear, faith and love in every word we hear. Through the struggles, the triumphs, the fight, we find the light in lessons for life. Santa speaks of joy in the giving hand. A polio survivor find the will to stand. Bold messengers don't shy from being called to share. Each person has